How you doing? So, what is going on? I am bored out of my mind. I need to get out of my house. I can't watch Catfish or Love After Lockup anymore. I love it, but I gotta do other stuff. I gotta get out there. I gotta get working. I gotta get doing that again. I miss it. So, what's going on? How's things been the last couple days, last couple weeks, months since I talked to you? Let's read some comments. I got some comments here before we get into the swing of things. Let's see here. Some comments. Why do you guys like to track me down on the Insty and on the book? And you're hitting me up with all these questions. You know, I mean, I got guys here. Let's see. What do you got here? Hey man, I wanted to ask you about 6-inch red no parking lot lines. How do you price these? I have a huge project I'm trying to figure out a bid. I do a lot of extruded curb and I have that down and the seal coating, but striping is new to me. It's just so hard to price. I'm just curious how you do yours. And he sends me a picture of him watching my videos in his living room, which is fucking weird. I don't know. I mean, who else is watching? How else would you watch it? I just don't ever see myself on people's TVs in their house. It's just weird. So, how do you price striping jobs? How do you price new striping jobs? You're getting into the striping business. How do you get into, well, that all depends on where you're at and what you're comfortable with. Let's say you've never striped anything before. You don't even have any practice. Like, you just bought a striper and you're like, fuck, I'm just going to go out there and I'm just going to wing this. And you get out there and your lines don't look that bad. Yeah, a little crooked. You got a little banana thing going because you haven't learned that when you pull the trigger, you just got to commit whatever it is, and stay on that beaten path. But you don't do that. So, it's what do you do? It's like well, I don't know, what do you do? So you can't go charging top dollar for that. You can't. I mean, you don't have any right to. You really don't. So your best bet is to get out there, give out some jobs, give some jobs away, give them away at cost, gain your experience. All right. If you're not used to messing around with it, then you really can't go charging top dollar and making top dollar, right? So that's my advice. Now, let's say you've got your time in and you figured out how to do it and you're doing good work. Now you want to know how to price shit. All right, well, you got to look at it like this. Wherever you are, you're not. And that makes perfect sense. I just thought of that shit right now. It just fucking flowed right off my tongue. But it does. It makes perfect sense. Wherever you are, you're not. If I'm at your job, working, doing 10, let's say I got a job, 13 lines. How much is it going to cost me? Well, I don't know. When I do big parking lots, I usually charge like $5 or $7 a line, and we only got 10 lines. So, I mean, $70. Like, you're not going to go do a job for $70, are you? Like, in the beginning, maybe, if you don't know what the fuck you're doing, maybe you're charging $300 or something to go do a small job. But once you got your shit together your time becomes very valuable. And it's not what you could be making at this guy's $300 job. It's what you could be making at the other guy's $2,000 job. Now, some people would say, if you had a $2,000 job, you'd be at it. So why not go work at that $300 job? And that's 100% true. If you're not doing anything, you might as well do something. All right? But it's going to get to the point in your career where every hour of every day is going to be taken up by something. And I noticed that like 5 years ago, things really started to change, where it went from, okay, now I'm just doing this at night and on the weekends for a couple extra bucks, to I'm doing this all the time, but I'm still kind of doing it at the weekend in the after work price, you know, which you're still making money, but you're not making what you could make. So, you know, striping's one of those things. If it's part of a seal coating job or it's part of a big paving job, you know, you're not going to make top dollar out of it. But if you're striping it on those things, it's just part of the job, right? You seal coat a parking lot, you got to put the lines back. You're not going to charge top dollar for the lines. You're making your money on the seal coating, right? So I'm speaking strictly if you're trying to make your money in striping. In my opinion, you can't do it with $300 and $500 jobs. You know, one thing that we did probably 4 years ago is we used to have a minimum $750 on line striping until you're on a job for 3 hours for $750. And some might go, hey man, that's $200, that's $250 an hour, man. That's a good pull. And it is. It is a good pull. But let's say you were doing a seal coat in a small parking lot for $4,000 in that same amount of time, right? Now you're like, holy shit. Okay, yeah, no kidding. All right, that's what you want to, that's how you want to compare everything. You want to compare it to that $4,000 seal coating job. So when I get a call for line striping, someone will call me and say, hey, we're paving a parking lot. It's all new. It needs to be laid out. It's got about 30 lines, a couple handicaps. What's your price on that? It's going to be $3,300. We charge a day rate. What? $3,300? Yeah. You know, well, I mean, I have a guy usually charges me like $750. Well, go call that guy. You know, like, you want me to come out there with two guys for the entire day for $750? Well, it's not going to be the whole day. Well, yeah, it is going to be the whole day. All right? Because by the time I get out there and we get set up and we get painting and we get broken down and we get packed up, there's nowhere else we can go in that day and make money. You know? Because it's never a half a day job. Now, there are jobs where I look at and go, I could do that in a half a day, and I charge them a half a day rate. And I pair that day up with another half a day rate job, and I do both of them in a day. It might be a long day, but I'm still making at minimum $3,300 for the day. Now, that's could be a good pull, unless you're comparing it to seal coating a parking lot on a Saturday at $10,000. Now, all of a sudden, it's not a good pull. So, you know, if you're striping, your time is worth something. You know, it is. So get in that mindset. And anything new, you know, so we're up in the Northeast. We don't have to deal with red curbs, red lines. We don't do any kind of red painting on the ground at all. I mean, maybe we paint bollards around fire sprinklers outside of like a warehouse. I'm trying to think when the last time I ever painted red. I was inside a warehouse and there was there's train cars that went through a warehouse building, and they part of their fucking ISO or whatever safety campaign they had going on, I had to paint. It was like a 300-foot 12-inch wide red line that people knew not to step over when the train was going through. That's the last time we ever paint with red up here. If you're in Texas, like I got a guy, Lando, he's in Texas. He's always painting red shit. I mean, he's got a dedicated machine to red, for crying out loud. You know, if you're into that stuff, then you don't really charge more for it because it's just part of striping, you know? You know, and that's the other thing. If you're going to get into doing like layout jobs, you have to understand that there is a big value in being able to lay out a job. You're not simply just going in and repainting the lines out of there. You know, you have to measure out, mark, paint, everything, you know? And that's not easy. On some parking lots where it's like, you know, on some parking lots where, you know, it's just a standard, like, you know, design, and you got lines off the sides, lines off the top, lines off the side. Yeah, that's easy. But when you start getting into like diagonals and boxed out squares and shit like that, like there's, you know, the more complicated the plan, the more money it costs. It's not a, you know, I get people that call me, and this is how you know it's like an engineer for a bigger line striping job. What's your price per linear foot? Are we talking road painting? No, parking lot. Oh, okay. So what this guy's gonna do, he knows exactly how many parking lines he's got. He knows exactly how many like feet, so he can figure out how many linear feet if his plan doesn't say it, you know. Some guy will go, oh, I gain about 50 cents a foot, and then he comes back with 1,000 parking spots, and somehow by his math you're painting those 1,000 parking spots for like $1,700. Well, by the way your math works, it's like no. So you don't want to get into like a situation like that where you're contradicting yourself. You know, your time is worth something. Make it worth it. Make that layout time valuable. You know, if everybody raises the bar of their work, raises their price at the same time, then we're all going to make more money. And there's going to be a lot better jobs turned around. You know, because right now, let's face it, you got your top tier stripers, your middle tier stripers, and your bottom tier stripers. I'd say somewhere between middle and top. You know, I could be a top if I wanted to. I could be a top if I wanted to. And I could be a top if I wanted to, right? But at the same time, I'm fucking too busy to focus that much attention. My lines will be straight. They'll all start and stop at the same point. You know, I don't know. What is the difference between a middle and a top tier person? I don't know. I really don't know. But I will say that I don't want to put myself too high on a pedestal, because I know I have stuff I could probably work on, especially when it comes to thermo, which I'm starting to get involved with. You know, you learn as you go. So, you know, that's one thing. And you want to make your time as valuable as you can. You want to get whatever you can get for a job, as long as you're as long as you got your experience in. You know, if you don't have your experience in, then you got to kind of work for cheap until you get it down. Like, I'm a firm believer in that. All right. So that's that guy's comment. All right, who we got next? What else do we got? Here's a guy in Massachusetts. Peter. Hey, Pete. Pete likes to watch the channel. Great advice. Love your videos. Was looking to start a seal coating business in Mass. I was wondering what licenses or other types of insurance I need. I'm a landscaper and want to offer this service. Thanks. Great videos. Well, thanks, Pete. Licenses? Yeah, I don't know of any. I've been doing this a long time. Never been told to ask, give me a license. I don't see other drivers or other companies running around with license numbers on the side of their trucks like a plumber would. So I'm going to say, there's no license. General liability. You need good insurance. Okay, not just on your equipment, but on your not just on your equipment, but to cover the jobs that you do. You want to make sure that you have enough insurance. If you're going to be working at gas stations and stuff like that, you need pretty hefty insurance. If you're going to be doing anything on the road, you need pretty hefty insurance. Let's see, what else? You want to make sure that you got Workman's Comp. In Massachusetts, what'll happen is you'll be working on a parking lot, and then all of a sudden you'll turn around and there'll be a guy with like blue ambulance pants on, cargo ambulance pants. You're fucking looking for the scissors. He's got like a blue golf shirt, short sleeve with a embroidered Massachusetts badge. It says Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and he's got a fucking police badge, and he is the Workman's Comp police. And what he does is he drives around through neighborhoods and he sees companies working, and there's Premier Seal Coating. Okay, they don't have Workman's Comp. And he rolls right up on site, and he's like, who you working with? You got anybody here with you, buddy? Huh? Anybody here working with you? You're doing it all by yourself. And of course, they're going to see someone else, some guy's carrying a fucking bucket of sealer, and I'm like, no, he works at the hotel. And they're like, okay, you don't have Workman's Comp, shut it down. So they basically give you a pink slip right there, tell you stop working. And if this happens to you in front of a customer, you're going to be pretty fucking embarrassed. And the last thing you want your customers to know is that you're working on their property without guys who are covered if they get hurt. So that's something you want to make sure you got your ducks in a row. What else? DOT numbers. Make sure that if you're running anything F250 and higher, that you are registered with the DOT. You got yourself a DOT number. Make sure all of your equipment and everything is squared away. DOT loves to mess with seal coating guys. So keeping your trucks clean, keeping your trucks like, nice and sexy will help you with a lot of unwanted attention, let's say. You get it. Because people see a tight truck rolling down the road versus a fucking pigsty pig pen, and guess who's getting pulled over? Pig pen is getting pulled over. Your ass is on the way to the job. So, let's see, what else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you're just getting started out, you'll figure out the other stuff. You own a landscaping company, yeah, it's the same thing. Fucking take your landscape guys, throw them on the sealer crew. Don't do that, actually. They'll fucking quit. The hardest thing you're going to have is to find people that do this job, because it sucks. It sucks. All right? I'm in Massachusetts. I'm trying to fucking hire dudes. I'm paying like $30 an hour. You got experience? You know how to seal coat and you have experience? You want to come fucking work for me and run one of my crews? Guess what? Bam! $30 an hour. Right there. Right for you. That's for you. Right there. Yep. And what? You know how to run a tennis court? You know how to run a tennis court, crew? Bang! Right there. They got $40 an hour. That's for you. That's for you. But that shit's not happening. That's not happening at all. No. Ryan's gonna go out there and he's gonna do everything himself. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, look, man, I'm willing to pay. You gotta be willing to pay, guys. I'm willing to pay, guys. I mean, I got to pay guys more because of inflation, right? But let's be honest. If you got guys that work for you and those guys are fucking knuckleheads, you don't want to pay them money, right? I'm a nice guy. I really am, and I'm not one for ball busting my guys. I'm really not. I'm so fucking laid back. But one thing I cannot stand is like, you know, fucking no motivation, walking around like a fucking slug. You know, I hate it. I can't stand it. All right? Guys smoke weed and they are just fucking lazy. All right? I smoke fucking weed, man. Look at, I got the ganj right here. All right? But I don't fucking smoke and turn into you know, you hear my feet. I sound like fucking 8 horses walking across the, you know, because I can't pick my fucking feet up. My shoes aren't tied. No, I can't stand that shit. Guys like that, no, they're not going to make top dollar because they don't represent your company well. All right? But if you got a guy who's fucking locked on, who's there every fucking time you call him, who doesn't have a fucking excuse every time it's time to go someplace or do something, you know, who you can 100% count on, yeah, those motherfuckers get paid. And they get paid good. All right? Guys that just show up from 9 to 5 or 9 to 9 or whatever they're supposed to show up to, yeah, those, you need those guys. And your employees, again, I've said it before, your employees don't owe you anything more at the end of the day when you go home than what they give you during that day, right? And you pay them, and that's a fair trade, man. Like, they're there for you during the day, and you're paying them, and then they go home, they get their life back. But that guy that gets extra, that's the guy that thinks about your work even after he goes home. That's the guy who's texting you with ideas. That's the guy who's bringing you work and putting work on the table. You got guys like that, you're one of those guys. You can do that shit. You can bring that shit to me. Bang, bang, right there. I got 10% of my company. I'm giving you ownership. Because that's fucking how serious I am. All right? What else is going on? Price of materials. Oh, that's the other comment I got. Like, somebody sent me a thing. How do you winterize your equipment? Your videos do a really good job. You take a lot of pride in your work. Question: if you leave material in your MA10 and reheat it later, does it crystallize? No, you can just leave it. Hey, what about the pricing increases coming this year? I hear that there's a lot of pricing increase changes on the horizon. May guy, B guy. What? I heard there's a lot of price changing on the horizon. Oh, my guy says I could expect to pay $1 more a gallon. All right, so before everybody has a fucking meltdown on the price of seal coating, let me just tell you something. Calm the fuck down. Okay? Just calm down. Like, I'm hearing like anywhere from 50 cents to $1 a gallon, man. What am I going to do? This sucks. What am I going to do? Calm the fuck down, okay? Act like a man. Calm down and get a hold of yourself, goddammit. And listen, all right? We're going to do the math here. We're going to break out the old calculator. Bang, got that shit right there. And we're going to figure this shit out. So let's say you got a 500-gallon tank and you're cutting it with 25% mix. All right, your cut is, let's see. So you're going to need like 390 gallons of concentrate. All right, that's going to average about 97 gallons of water, gives you almost your full tank. Now, I know there's a different formula you can use. I'm layman's term in this, but it's just a example. God damn it. So, all right. So we got 390 gallons. Let's say you're used to paying $2.50 a gallon. Then you're used to paying $975 to have your sealer tank filled. All right? Now, out of that 500-gallon tank, if you're getting 80 cents a square foot, that brings you back down. That gives you about 40,000 square feet that you're going to make off of that 500 gallons. All right? So let's take the $970 and let's divide that by 40,000 square feet. That gives you an average cost per square foot of 0.02425, which is about 2.5 cents a square foot to apply it at your today's price. Now let's say it goes up to $3 $3.50 a square foot. Well, let's start at $3 a square foot. So you got the same 970 times. Oh, sorry, it's not the same. It's 390 times 3.50. 1365 to fill that same sealer tank. All right. Now let's do 1365 divided by the 40,000 square feet. Now your cost per square foot to apply is 0.034125. Okay. So if your sealer price goes up $1, it's going to cost you 1 cent in application costs. That's just for the sealer. Yeah, I understand there's travel time, there's fuel, all that stuff's going up. I get it. We're just talking sealer. $1 is only going to add 1 cent to your application price. And you're passing that right up the fucking chain, Charlie. So I don't know what the big deal is. So everybody just needs to calm the fuck down about the sealer pricing, okay? Just calm the fuck down.